Okay, I'm gonna try to explain why learning Lojban by immersion is way more possible than you think it is, and why the way to learn Lojban is way different than you think it is. We're just gonna diagram the sentence a little with just some random little boxes. Okay, so the way you're thinking that you're gonna need to learn to speak Lojban and to understand sentences is you're thinking we're going to need to go through a piece by piece of the grammar and then put it all together. Like, okay, broda is the celery and is connected to koha over here is the first term of that. And then lo produces a term from the verb nu. So we've got to have the verb nu, which is made into a term by lo and then connected to the broda, and then inside of this we're gonna have the kohe connects, and then the broda. The broda connects to a kohe and a kohi in here, all parsed out. Okay, I'm telling you that is not how you can parse Lojban at speed. That is how you can think about Lojban slowly. But the way you can actually do it at speed is you make a unit Koha Broda, and then you connect Koha Broda to a thing with the low nu and the rest of it. The Koha Broda Kohi is so you're like Koha Broda is a unit. There's the noun, verb, and then uh, there's this embedded sentence where it's just noun verb noun, and this is a common pattern that you're gonna recognize and be like, oh, okay, this pattern is the same as I've seen patterns like this before. It's pattern recognition. That's how you're gonna. So if we take this and we say, oh, koha broda lanu, kohe broda lanu, brody koho. Now you're not gonna like re-parse this from scratch, and you're not gonna like take you're not gonna have to take each little bit of it and re-parse the whole thing. You're gonna say, okay, now the thing inside the new is that there's koha broda lonu, and then we have an embedded sentence, and then the shape of the embedded sentence is the same thing again, kohe broda lonu, and another embedded sentence. So we're just gonna these big shapes like koha broda lonu. All right, that's more the level of the shape on which you're gonna recognize the sentence. Like mi klama lo zarshi. It's me going and then but if you say mi nershi lo nu mi klama lo zarshi, you don't have to go through each and be like, okay, lo makes this is the direct object for the nelshi, and what does it make it out of? The first object in this inner sentence is me, and the second you don't like you can't think it through that fast. And when you're processing it at speed, you can't be like, okay, me is a noun. First, we're making the noun me. Then there is the verb nelshi, and we will connect that to the me. Then there is a lo. That is going to make a noun out of a verb. And what does the lo construct a noun out of? Seems to be a new phrase. Okay, wow, a new phrase. The new phrase contains a noun. I will put a noun. The noun is then what next? There is a verb. The verb is connected to the noun. And then there is another lo. Like um you don't if you see lo zarshi, you don't really have to think, oh, lo nominalizes, and within that is a verb, which is the zarshi verb, and like think about the transformation from zarshi's verbiness into a noun, and think about it plugging into the common, think about it plugging into new, think about it being transformed and plugged into the lo, think about the lo making it a noun and plugging it into the nelshi too. Don't you only think about that if you're like doing an analysis of Lojban grammar. Otherwise, Otherwise, the way to see this is like, oh, we got a noun, verby, and then an abstracty thing. Oh, and it's miklama lozarshi. Two chunks, boop, boop. Minashilunu miklama lozarshi. And you only have time, it goes fast, goes real fast. Iminelshilunu miklama lozarshi. And you have to, you've got time to hear, oh, minelshilunu, that's a chunk, like noun verblanu. And then we got a chunk, noun verblo verb, miklama lozarshi. And you can, I mean, even if you don't haven't seen a sentence with the particular verbs, like miklamalo zarshi you might recognize as a chunk, just like I know that what miklamalo zarshi means. But even if it's not any particular verb you've heard of in there, it might be akselo. We might know that mi akselo stoyo. We might know, we might know that means I pet someone who's feeling contradictory emotions, but the point is you don't need to in order to be like, yeah, okay, me verb, lo verb, and then you don't, that chunk is just what's inside the minel shilonu. Minel shilonu is a chunk that gets you to inside of this new, and then mi axel stoyo is a sentence that is it just brings you to a context where, oh, and there's another sentence you can say in there. So that's what, like, so if you say minel shilonu, minel shilonu, minel shilonu, minel shilonu, then you don't, if you went through and diagrammed this in any level of your mind, it would be, I'm not going to draw out a diagram of all of those nelshis connecting, but clearly what we have is minel shilonu, and then minel shilonu, and then minel shilonu, and that contains a minel shilonu, which contains klama. So there's only really five. It's five chunks. Is how minel shilonu, minel shilonu, minel shilonu, minel shilonu, klama. You gotta eat that in five chunks, not in, how many chunks is it if you eat one word as a chunk? That is too slow. That is too slow to be chewing on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I can hardly stand to count them. And you can't do anything about all of them. You have to zoom through just chunking it up. You gotta chunk it up. I hope that clarifies somehow. The thing is, in order to, I mean, you can think about chunking it up too if you want to analyze that. But really, that's just how it works. That is just what will happen if you listen to a lot of Lojban, is you'll start hearing and producing it in chunks in order to get up to spoken speed.